Good evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500 for Monday, September 11th, 2023. It was an interesting day, to say the least. The markets decided to start the week, particularly the NASDAQ, decided to start the week with a blast north, a blast higher. And at first I thought, oh, okay, the alternate count, which would have suggested that the minor wave 2 was not complete, and that we would done an ABC and an X wave down, leaving us in the position where we're going to do a second ABC. But then I kind of continued to follow it, let the day kind of roll out, and now have gone back and left the minor wave 2 here, redid the count and the labeling, not breaking any rules, and now am now offering out that we completed minute wave 1 of minor wave 3, and now we're in minute wave 2 of minor wave 3, and it also may be complete, maybe just needing a little bit extra. So let's take a look, starting here in the NASDAQ on the hourly chart. So I'm leaving that in place, minor wave 1, complete at the mid-August lows. And that would be basis the December contract of 14,798. Then we did an ABC up, and that completed on September the 1st, and that would have been minor wave 2, and that high was 15,850. So from there, we've come down in minute wave 1. And then coming up out of that, we're into minute wave 2. Now we understand that second waves, when we're running Fibonacci's, are most often going to reach 50 to 62%. They have the capacity and the ability to be a little fooling the market in its own way. In that it just seems like this rally is just going to go and go and go and go, and it was fueled today again by Apple. And, when we look into the NASDAQ, we've got the same stocks. Today, Tesla, God bless Morgan Stanley, came out with an upgrade. They've upgraded the stock to put a new price tag of $400. Initially, the stock was kind of up 10, 12, 14, 15, and then all of a sudden it just burst through the seams and finished the day up 25. That, of course, is going to add quite a bit to anything in the NASDAQ. Now, whether this actually is just going to continue, or we're just going to stand here and buy it up now to 400 without really reading what the Morgan Stanley analyst had to say and how long it was going to take to get there. So nonetheless, it was that initial reaction. Options went crazy, so we had a lot of activity in Tesla today as far as options go. Back to the NASDAQ, we had another play in Apple where the stock went up to 180, came back all the way back down, went all the way back up. So that in turn gives a big boost and then a decline, all at different periods during the day. We saw some strong move in Amazon. We saw a strong move, very strong move in Meta and in Microsoft. NVIDIA ends up down on the day, never really captured where it got into the plus column. In fact, there was at some point it was down, I think, $12 or even $14 before it started to rally back. So again, mixed bag, but enough to really push the NASDAQ along with the auxiliary. So in other words, it's like Microsoft, Apple are in the Dow, and of course the S&P. So, but all of the markets seem to produce the same pattern. So coming in here, I'm going to say A, B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, C. We're looking for a wave 2. It was very vertical at many times. In fact, starting at about 11 o'clock Eastern, it just went massively vertical. And if there was anything just like get long at that time and just hold on, that was that time. And depending on, your account size and what your risk profile was, that even within these hours, there were some downswings. And so, how gifted we are in holding on to that position, even as a day trader. But it was a golden opportunity to just play along and just go with the flow. Now, if indeed wave two, minute wave two is complete, we should roll over very quickly. Now, again, do I really think that that's going to happen tomorrow? Well, it could. But it is the end of the week. It's Wednesday and Thursday that we have the majority of information, and it's the CPI and the PPI and several other things. So let me just review that quickly right now. We have actually tomorrow, the U.S. federal budget at 2 p.m. Eastern, and the NFIB optimism index. Now, who knows? But it gets kind of sketchy because I'd look at that and go like, well, I don't even think that was going to have a big influence on the market. Federal budget, still don't think that's really going to have a big influence on the market, but it could. Wednesday consumer price index, total, everything coming out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Thursday initial jobless claims along with producer price index coming out, and as well as U.S. retail sales, all coming out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, and then business inventories at 10 a.m. And then Friday, U.S. import price, Empire State manufacturing, industrial production, and consumer sentiment from 8:30 Eastern, 9:15 up to 10 a.m., all those various numbers. So the bulk of anything is coming out at the end of the week. A couple of, I would say, nondescript, but we'll see how the market wants to react. So again, tomorrow, will we get it to where we actually do start to come down hard? Because that's what I'd be looking for if this small two is complete. Now, here I have to say that if we continue to just go, then it is going to be counted a little bit differently, and it's not going to be that easy because this does come in to be in a regular two, right? So we had a regular B wave, seeing more of those, and then, but finishing out in the 5, and 3 was the longest wave actually. So wave 1 was 208, wave 3 was 276, and wave 5 was 248, 247. So wave 3 was the longest wave. And so I had held this one and then now put it into place. So the market, it does suggest that follow through is possible, but it should be contained below 15,850, which is that high on the 1st of September. And above that, wave 2 is overlapping with the beginning of wave 1, and nope, no can do. But it can come close. It can come close. If it breaks above there, then I'm going to be pushing it that this is, X, and we're doing an ABC, the double ABC, like ABC, and we're doing another ABC going back up. And that one does forecast, if I did my fibs correctly, it does forecast that we could probably reach just below 16,000. So we're going to take it day by day here. And that is also how I'm going to suggest that we actually trade it. It's going to be difficult because if you're holding a short, you've got fuel that they want to feed into the market to get it to boost it up. You've got all this other things going on. And then on top of everything, on Friday, we have a triple witching, right? And also just our regular, Friday expiration plus a monthly. And that puts a little bit more pressure on the size of the positions that may be coming into play as we get towards that level. Excuse me. So day by day, my expectations are we have to allow for a little bit more upside. And if I drop this down to the 30, then we got that A, B, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, and it really does look complete. But maybe we just kind of come down a little bit and then play around, and then have an inside day, and then Wednesday, boom, get a kick. So I'm not going to put the 2 up there. I'm leaving room that we may still get some upside. In fact, as Globex starts in about 50 minutes, they may need to buy stock. So they may just boost it on up there. So again, much of how we do tomorrow is going to be dependent on what these stocks that carried it all today end up doing tomorrow. If we see this gigantic inflow in Tesla continue again, it will feed the rally and others will follow. All right, so moving average wise, we've kind of like, I'll go back to that hourly. Let's take a quick review on the hourly. We can see the 50s and the 200s, except for the EMA, have all started to turn higher. Everybody else is walking it higher, and we're not quite above that hourly 200, with the 50s starting to get across it. The 20 has gotten across it. And then we have this one up here, which is the SMA. Market broke above that, and that's what gave it that little extra boost at the end of the day. If it comes back down, it's going to end up being resistance. All right, if it breaks back below it, it ends up being resistance. Okay, so going back out, let's take a quick peek at the daily chart and see where all of our moving averages. Look at that. See, again, it was the daily 50 that last Thursday came down and got touched. And then the 20 came into play today, where today's activity at the low was touching the 20, the daily 20, held like a champ, and boom, we went off to the races. So same thing would happen as if we start to come back down, breaking that 20, we're going to head to the 50. If we break the 50, then it is 1, 2, and we're heading in that third. So we'll look for those clues here on the daily. Okay, over in the S&P, it was the same story. The S&P, of course, did catch an updraft as well, but not with the same intensity as we saw in the NASDAQ. Tesla is heavily weighted in the S&P, but there are other stocks that kind of trump it, so to speak, and it did not go as strong. In fact, it held below an important, the 200 SMA, simple moving average, sits at just about 45.50, and that's the level that would still need to break. But under the current count, leaving the minor wave 2 is complete, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it comes into a nice clean 5, and minute wave 1. Minute wave 2, so far, we've just kind of cruised up to 50%. So we may get up to that 62%, which is at 45.55. And that would break it above that 45.50. But if it's, but if it spikes and comes back, well, then it's just not, the 45.50 level will remain just as strong. So if it spikes up and comes back down below it, then it is holding. And it was a momentary blip, so to speak. So again, I'm not putting it in because we have A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, needing that little bit of additional flip higher. NASDAQ may be complete. S&P could use a little bit additional, but how much? Another $10 from 45.37 up to 45.47. We shall see. Resistance levels are 45.55 and then 45.74 to 75. Where can't it break in terms of it breaks the pattern and shoves us over to the alternate, which exactly would be the same, and that this turns into an ABC, and that could be A, B, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's a C, and then this is an X, and this is doubling up, and now we're going to get that second ABC. There's our first level, and our second. So we still are at 46.85. We're still below everything. So, and because it's much higher, it's above 4,800 where the all-time high sits. So everything still would fit cleanly, and we could put the 2 up here. And not saying that it has to go there. Right now, the way I would count this is A, B, C. Is that just going to be wave A, and then we get a B wave? So either way, and this would go for both the S&P and the NASDAQ. We should get a pullback tomorrow. We should get a more decent pullback, whether it's going to be, a B wave, which then leaves us with a C wave, Or is it going to be the start of that the minute third wave? So it'll be a 3 of 3 type move. Understanding that what you're going to look for in the 3 of 3 move is that the market just kicks into gear. Whether it's up or down, in this case it's down, it just starts to go and doesn't stop. Do I see something tomorrow that might be able to do that? I mean, there are things that can happen overnight that certainly could contribute to it. But more importantly, as far as numbers and economic data, that's going to be Wednesday and Thursday. So again, maybe we get an inside day tomorrow because today was fairly powerful. We get a little bit of follow through, and then we just kind of sit and be kind of slow. Shall see. Moving average wise, same. We got the 200 SMA sitting up here at 45.50. We've already cut across, but now is flat, so it's not curling higher just yet, but it will act as support. The 20 is still below it. The 50 is still below it. So the market didn't have the same push, the same strength as the NASDAQ did. Over, excuse me, in the daily, let's kind of open this up so we can take a peek. Here we have the same deal, right? On Thursday, market slid below the 50, came back up, closed above it. On Friday, slid below, came back up, closed above it. Today, came down, touched it, launched. So everything kind of fits for a corrective type move. And then we have on the daily, we have the 50 SMA sitting up here at 45.50, 45.51 to be exact. And then we have 45.55, 74, and then we're back up to that high. All right. Day by day, that's all I can tell you. That's how I've got to take this, is day by day. My larger picture remains the same, whether we go up and get ourselves back above 4,600 or not. I would still consider that part of the minor two should it occur, and I'd still be looking for that larger decline in a minor third wave to continue. All right, again, no real major numbers coming out tomorrow. I did discuss what they are. And our next update will be on Tuesday, September the 12th.